Hi everybody, come join me for a little bit of a workout on the floor with the mat series. Just pulling in the hips just a bit to feel that engagement lower in your ribs, just feeling that connection in your core. Sitting however it's comfortable for you. If you're not able to sit crisscross, you can extend your legs out or sit however it's comfortable for you at the moment, even if you need to be in a chair. You're more than welcome just to sit in a chair, sitting maybe on the very edge of the chair so that you can stay connected with your core. Just wanting you to notice the sits bones here, notice that connection through the ribs, the strength deep inside. We're gonna inhale, notice the tips of the shoulder blades sliding down the back through the inhale and exhale down. And inhale and exhale. This time what we're going to do with our inhale, we're going to meet our hands up at the very top, place our hands behind our head and press our head. Just engage the muscles in the back of the neck to push the head against the hands here. Hold it here. Let's inhale as we press forward, trying to push down through the back of the sits bones, and exhaling, using that strength deep inside the ribs to push ourselves straight up. Inhaling. So you'll maybe notice that if you're able to sit crisscross, or maybe you're sitting in a chair here, that maybe you're rolling forward and feeling that pressure. Notice your knees teetering forward. This is where we really want to try to place that pressure back in the sits bones, grounding. Imagine rooting yourself down into the mat or the chair behind you, really pushing back through those sits bones, and then feeling that strength right here to push yourself up. A lot going on here. Notice the back here, the strength it takes in the back and in the neck to keep those elbows wide. Elbows can be in your peripheral vision. Let's do this a couple more times. My ankles are feeling a little heavy when I come forward, but just really trying to push the pressure back through the sits bones to anchor myself down. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, bring it down. Just roll those shoulders back. Good. All right, you guys, moving onto our knees and our hands here, trying to make a square with our body. Placing the tips of the shoulder blades down the back. Shoulders are over the wrists at the moment. Knees are directly under the hip bones. And my knees have a little bit of separation because they're dropping straight down from the hip bone here. I'm engaging my belly just to pull the hips under just a bit. Trying not to round my back at the moment, but just feeling that evenness and the stability through my body. So there's just as much weight on my knees and maybe even through my ankles here. You can be up onto your toes if that's comfortable for your ankles. As much weight through my legs as there is in my arms, and I'm trying to let my arms bear the weight as opposed to all the weight coming into the wrists. So imagine a 9x13 pan of water on your back, and instead of that water being tilted heavily over the shoulders, it's distributed evenly throughout that pan. We're going to start out with just our legs. Press down through the shins here, and I want you to extend that right leg behind you. Allow that right arm to bear the weight here, keeping that body even. And we only want to lift that leg as high as what the hips will allow. We don't want to lift so high to where our body is reacting and we're compressing that spine underneath of us. So really use your limitation through your body here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to curl that knee underneath and pull it through. At the moment, keeping the torso nice and flat. And really noticing the weight in that right arm. So allow those muscles to get strong here. Feel the belly muscles pull that thigh in. And as you do this, with this left leg, press down through that shin. Really stabilizing the body, being aware of the entire body at the moment. Now, if you want to add a flexion here for these last four, you can. Feel the belly kind of pushing and curling the spine up towards the ceiling, pulling that thigh up high. You know your body the best. If you're not able to have a flexion in your spine, do not do that. I'm exhaling on the curl. This is the last one. And press it out. Keep it here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use that outer thigh to pull that leg out to the side. Knee is still pointing down towards the floor, and bring it back in. Push and pull it in. Still noticing the strength in that right arm. Good. Let's do 4, 3, 2, using the quad to keep that leg super straight. And last time, we're gonna bring this leg directly behind us. Engage that glute, tighten up that glute as much as you can here. We're gonna use that glute to lift the leg and lower, lift and lower. Not forgetting that left side, still anchor down through that shin. Using the glute to lift the leg, quad straightening the leg. 3, 2, and 1. Other side, tuck that knee, hold it here. Now noticing that left leg here. Pull that leg, keeping that torso straight at the moment. Feeling the head of the femur bone working within the hip socket. Now we have no weight here, so this could be a really simple movement. So really be mindful with it. And use your mental resistance through this movement, really engaging those muscles. Pressing down through the shin here, anchoring yourself down. Left arm is engaged, belly is pulling the thigh in, quad straightening, quad and glute, extending and pushing that leg out. Now for the last 4, if you want to add that flexion, you can. If not, just do 4 with that torso being straight. And 1 more. Good. Hold it here. Now using that outer thigh to pull that leg out to the side and pull it back, straight back behind me. Let's do 4. Keeping that left leg straight and long. 2 more. And 1. Bring it back behind you, hold it here. Use that glute and the hamstring to lift the leg just a little bit higher and bring it down. And as you lower that leg, really use the quad to lengthen that leg. Don't let that left arm give up here. Keep it strong. Keep that torso nice and even. We're gonna do 3. See how long you can get that leg. 2 and 1. Bring that knee down. Let's have a child's pose here. Kind of give yourself a little bit of a break. Coming back up onto our knees. Now you will have an option whether you want to do a kneeling push-up or be out fully extended into a push-up. I like this way the best because I'm not the strongest in my upper body. So my arms are going to be, my hands are going to be wider than my mat. I'm taking them off my mat and I'm pointing my fingers out to the side a little bit. It's easier on my wrists this way. And I like to be flat on my knees. Again, you can come out into a kneeling plank for this push-up or out fully in a plank. Just make sure that your body and your torso stays flat. All right, so what I want you to do is just bend those elbows out to the side. Lead with the chest, landing the chest through the hands. Feeling the strength through the chest and the shoulders to push yourself up. Belly stays activated. I just found my hips kind of drop out a little bit. I'm trying not to round out my back. I have an advantage of this camera being right in front of me so I can kind of check the frame of my body. So I know whether to change my positioning a little bit. So I'm just trying to keep those ribs closed. Guiding myself down slowly, feeling the strength stretch across my chest into my shoulders, and then using that strength to push myself back up. I'm keeping my head in line, or at least trying to. I don't want to dip my forehead down. I'm leading with the chest, not my nose. Let's do 3 more. 3 slow ones. 3, 2, keeping the belly strong, and 1 more. There we go. Child's pose again to stretch it out. All right, you guys, let's come over onto our side for some outer thigh exercises here. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend this bottom leg, extend that left leg out, honor your body here. You can come all the way down and lift your head, cradle your head with your hand, or you can let your neck lie on your arm. So you are the best one to know your body and know your neck. I'm gonna start out with propping my head up at the moment, but instead of my ribs kind of laying flat against the mat, I'm gonna use my muscles here to kind of create a little bit of space, and you automatically feel those muscles kind of wake up a little bit and come in contact, and that's what you want. And instead of the leg just being out floating in the air, I want you to really use those muscles to straighten that leg out. So you feel your quad here tighten up, or your glutes, you feel your quads lengthening very long, reaching all the way out through the toes. So making your body as long as possible and your legs in line with your hips. Knee is pointed forward at the moment, and it's gonna stay forward as I lift. Height does not matter here. A lot of times when we do these side lifts, our thigh will want to rotate and the knee will want to come up just so we can get a huge movement in. Don't do that. It doesn't need to be huge. What we're trying to shoot for here is the outer glute, outer thigh, lifting that leg. So it's very important to keep that knee pointed forward. I've never been big on what you're doing with your feet, whether you're flexing up or pointing up, flexing down, pointing down. Do whatever feels natural for you at the moment, but just make sure that extension is extending through the foot. A lot of times I find myself flattening out my ankle. Noticing that strength right here. And when you lift, notice what your torso is doing. If you feel your torso kind of caving in, keep that muscle activated, keep that weight here. It will be a lot more effective. You may notice that you're not able to lift as high. I found myself noticing that. So I'm keeping my hand here underneath, just as a physical reminder to keep that strong here. We're gonna hold it here. Hold it at an angle. Remember where this height is. We're gonna dive the knee down in front of us and push it right back up. 7, keeping the space here underneath. 6 more. And I'm noticing my bottom leg, that isolated pressure pressing down, anchoring myself. 4, really push. 3, developing your quads as you extend. 2, and 1. Hold it here, lower hip bone distance, we're not done yet. All right, you guys, bring this leg forward. Now I have a 90-degree angle here and a 90-degree angle at my knee, so my shin is parallel to imagine a surface in front of me. Don't let that foot carry back. Press it forward. Keep this space underneath here. You're really gonna notice your hip. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna press and bend, push. Now, if you need to bring this angle down just a little bit to honor your hamstrings, for sure that is okay. Stop right at 90 degrees here. And you should notice your outer thigh, your outer glute. Oh my gosh, 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, and gently bring that leg down. No crash leg. Oh my goodness, stretch that out. Just pull this knee up. I like to scoop underneath my knee and pull that knee as high as you can up towards your armpit, and just open your chest up to the ceiling. Oh, that gets your heart rate up a little bit. All right, you guys. Now we're gonna switch over to the other side, but before we do that, let's unlace our knee here. We're gonna tuck this bottom arm underneath of us, make sure that shoulder is down. The neck is gonna kind of float. So those of you with neck problems, this may not be the best thing for you because you're not gonna have any support with your neck. But just a nice little tricep exercise that I like to do to switch over to the other side. This top arm, hand is gonna be even with my shoulder here. Elbow tucked in tight. So you're gonna feel it kind of in your front part of your shoulder down into your tricep. This bottom arm, I like to hold my elbow in tight, and we're gonna use that strength to push ourselves up, ease ourselves down. Now, this bottom arm, if you want, you can use it as a spotter to guide yourself down and kind of press and help yourself up. Don't be afraid to do that. Let's do 2 more. I haven't done these in a long time. And come over to the other side. All right, you guys. Coming down, all the way down. Again, creating a little bit of weight here, a little bit of space. Leg extended out. Using my quad to really extend out, tightening up my glute here. My leg is in line with my torso. We're just gonna lift and lower. Again, you can cradle your head if you'd like. Now, for those of you who want just a tad bit more of a challenge, and this is a challenge that will be more for the entire body, is coming up simply onto your forearm. Now, when you do that, be mindful not to get into your neck and your shoulder. You really want to lean out, almost like you're pulling the weight down through your hips, pressing down through your forearm and lifting. Probably noticing you're not going to be able to lift that leg as high as what you were when you were down. It's okay, but just be mindful to stay out of that shoulder. For today, I'm going to come down and keep my head propped up this way. I'm feeling a little bit in more control with my body that way. Keeping my hand here to keep this engaged. Let's do 3 more. 3. And imagine as you get higher, your leg is getting longer. Last time, we're gonna hold it up here as long as possible here. We'll dive that knee down in front of us, barely tap it, and then shoot it right back out. Tightening the glute, tightening the quad here. Remember, we have no weight, so it's really up to us how we form those muscles. We can be lazy with this movement, certainly. So this is your exercise. Imagine really pushing through a weight. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that leg down, even with our hips, again, mindful of our ribs here. Pull that leg forward, again, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Shin is parallel to a surface in front of us, and we're extending. Remember, letting the hamstring kind of be in charge here. If we need to drop this angle down a little bit, that's okay. It doesn't have to be 90 degrees here. Just making sure that knee stays pointed forward. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that leg forward, gently place it down, and let's stretch it out. Oh, this is a good stretch. That hurts so good. All right, you guys. We'll come up to a seated position, but first, I didn't forget. I gotta do this side for this shoulder here. Bring that arm right by that shoulder, tucking that arm underneath, holding this elbow in close. And remember, we can use this bottom arm as a spot. And this is where we really learn a lot about our body to find a more dominant side. You may find that one side is stronger than the other. Key here is to gently land yourself down, control yourself down. No plopping. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Oh, yikes, and come all the way up. Perfect. All right, you guys. Coming into belly here before we kind of roll over onto our back and work onto our front thighs and our hamstrings. But first what I want to do is place our hands underneath. We're sitting tall. If at this moment you want to extend your legs out, feel free to do that. Sit however it's comfortable for you. I like to have my legs curled. For me, what I've noticed, the tighter you have your legs curled in, honestly, the more difficult it is to keep your feet grounded. So I'm just gonna give myself a little bit of extra space. All right, you guys, so really keeping that connection through the ribs here. We're holding on. The key here is weight your feet down. Don't let them be light and lazy. Really kind of pull your ankles in close together. Your knees will squeeze in tightly together so your inner thighs are engaged. Everything is strong here. We're just gonna, at the moment, keep the shoulders down the back and hinge back. Keeping our torso straight at the moment. And as we hinge back, be aware of your feet. Notice that they want to kind of have a little lift underneath of them. Use that strength to bear down through the feet. Squeezing through those inner thighs, really kind of anchoring yourself down. Good, and pulling up. Now, for those of you who need to stay straight and not have any flexion, then stay straight for these next few exercises. Another option would be to provide a C curve. A C curve. You're tilting your hips underneath of you and pulling your ribs close. So it's almost like your belly button is being pulled back towards your spine and up underneath your rib cage, kind of like a shrimp. When you cook a shrimp, kind of curls up in the pan. And then use your muscles to sit yourself up tall. I like to imagine like a slinky being stretched straight up, but really using the muscles inside to curl and make this curling connection, like a clam, closing and lifting tall. And again, remember, if you are not one that it's healthy for you to be in flexion, then keep yourself straight and keep noticing, keeping those ribs closed here. We're gonna do one more. Hold it here. Now, if you're holding on for dear life, just loosen up your grip a little bit. If your grip is pretty loose, let go entirely. See how much weight you can have in your feet. Again, if you were straight, it would look like this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna feel these muscles underneath our arm and down our lats, kind of pull the muscles down, kind of like a 100, but we're not laying down, obviously. You can be in two different positions here. Honoring your body, doing what's best for your body. Now, for the challenge of my feet are really pressed down tightly here. We can extend one leg down, really pushing down through that foot, really extending that straight leg long. So develop those quads. And quick switch. Quick switch. Quick switch. Straight. Quick switch. One more, quick switch. And bring it down and pull yourself up. Good. All right, you guys. Let's come down to the mat. If you can have flexion and you want to roll down at the moment, go ahead and roll down, or just ease yourself down however it's best for your body. All right, let's go ahead and come up into a tabletop position here. Knees directly over hips. Sometimes I like to place my hands here as a little stopper, because a lot of times I find my thighs wanting to float over my torso. So really just use your hands here as a guide. Now, if you need to, if you're feeling this to be a bit challenging, just being in a tabletop, or if your back starts hurting, ground your feet. It's totally okay. What we're gonna do is, let me show you a couple options. If your feet are grounded, use your belly to kind of pull that thigh up to that stopper and press it down. Now we're not just floating through the air and making it easy. I like to imagine really thick, like a bunch of thick mud around me. I'm really trying to make my way out of that mud and push it down. So really using that mindful resistance. This would be option 1. Option 2 would be in that tabletop, coming down. You can tap your toe or your heel here. The heel is going to be a tad bit harder. Got to go down just a few more inches. Now the key here is pressing down through the ribs, grounding yourself down through that tailbone. If you feel any discomfort in your lower back and you start arching, it means your belly muscles are not engaged. So press them down, and it could be that maybe you need to lower one leg down as you do this. Totally okay. So just kind of play with the movements, learn your body, honor your body. Now, if you want, if that was not challenging for you, extend the leg, lower, and pull it back up. Press it down. So extend the leg first, push down through that mud, pull it up through the mud, and back into tabletop. So it's kind of like a broken movement here. And you should really notice the strength that it takes here to hold those long limbs out and to lower them down. We can bring our arms up. That makes it just a tad bit harder. One more. And bring those knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice little hug. You can rock from side to side if you'd like. Bring those feet down. All right, time for bridges. All right, you guys, so what I want you to do is find the natural curve of your spine. So you're feeling your tailbone, feeling the ribs. There's a tad bit of air underneath your lower lumbar, right below your belly button. You feel the flatness of your shoulder blades. Your feet are anchored. So I want you to go ahead, tighten up your bum. Feel the gravitation toward your inner thighs. So everything is in line. Knee coming directly out of the hip bone here. We're going to press down through those heels, and the deeper we press down through the heels, we're going to float up through the hips. Now be mindful here. Really turn on those inner thighs, gravitating towards one another so that our knees stay in line with our hip bones. In fact, take a peek down to make sure that it's really happening. A lot of times after we bridge up, our thighs want to open out to the side. So make sure they stay pulled in nice and tight, and we're really feeling that strength from underneath our legs into the glutes. Keeping that pelvis curled in, that helps take the pressure off the back. Feeling as if your body is rolling up over your shoulders and over the knees, grounding yourself down through the feet. And we're gonna go ahead and lift one leg and lower. Lift. Now, sometimes I like to place my hands here as a guidance because the side that lifts sometimes will want to drop. Make sure that the side that's being put down is able to bear all of that weight. Now, if this is difficult and you want to just stay with both feet grounded and you just kind of want to pump your hips up and down and pulse those muscles and squeeze those muscles every time, go for it. That would be an option for you if extending your leg, if you're finding it being a little bit difficult. Let's do 4. And again, my leg that's being extended is really shooting out there, starting from the belly down through the quads. One more. Good. And slowly roll down, articulating over that spine. And let's roll right back up. Now, this is going to be an option. We are going to roll down and roll up, or we can lower down. If you, again, cannot be in flexion, you can lower your torso down as one unit, and then press right back up. The challenge here will be to either, your choices will be to keep your feet, both feet grounded, or to have one leg extended, rolling down and pushing up, keeping those hips even. And as we push up, I want you to really feel that leg that's being extended. I want you to really feel that leg kind of pulling yourself towards a spot on the wall. Find a spot on the wall. Arms are strong, kind of helping your body stay anchored down. Hips stay even. Let's do 3, 2, and 1. Switch over to the other side, and go. 7, 6. Both feet can be on the ground. 5. Time. Good. And bring your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. Good. Now working the quads. We're going to bring those legs down, feet down. We're going to extend one leg out, so the front leg out. Again, feeling the strength in the core, pressing yourself down. So even though we're not actively doing a crunch or anything for the belly, those muscles are still very strong, anchoring yourself down to this mat below you or the carpet. Legs are even. What we're going to do, again, we have all of that thick mud around us. We're going to use the muscles to kind of push our way through that mud to where our knees are even, and then use our muscles to push down through the mud again. Trying to keep yourself anchored here. So this base leg, again, we just worked those hamstrings, but my foot is pressing down through that mat. You really notice your hamstrings here. Quad is extending that leg. Belly muscles kind of engaging, helping that leg stay long, and push up and pull down. Now, what I want you to focus on, my torso is not reacting. The head of the femur bone is just working within the hip socket, meaning, and I'm going to over exaggerate here just so you can maybe see if your body is doing this or not. But when I lift my leg, I'm not curling my back into the mat, okay? I'm over exaggerating, but that is not happening. I'm staying completely stable through the torso. I'm just working within that groove. We're gonna hold it at the bottom. We're gonna do 3 sets of 10 of little pulses. Just pulse. We're kind of stopping the movement. Stop, stop. Feel the muscles kind of squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. Now we're gonna lift, just knee to calf here. Still noticing that anchorage to the floor, that bubble underneath the lower belly, little pulses. 3, 2, hold. Now I'm gonna lift knee to knee, and again, lift. Keep that little bubble. Don't let that body react. This is the hard part here. Getting higher, staying strong, just still working within that hip groove. 4, 3, 2, hold. Press all the way down, curl that knee into your chest. Now we have another leg. Extend that leg long and just push and pull. Get acclimated working with this side. Keeping that little pocket of air underneath the lower lumbar here, noticing the natural curve of your spine. Really activating those muscles. Really think about adding that mental resistance on. Use those muscles to really pull that leg up and push it down. Maintaining the strength here and the stability through the hips and the ribs. 1 more. Pressing down through this foot, activating that hamstring. All right, here we go. 10, 9, staying about ankle height. Only moving a couple of inches, really pulsating those muscles, squeezing to a stop. Squeeze, squeeze. 3, 2, hold. I'm using my hands here on my hips to keep them stable. Knee to calf, really pressing long. Use those quads here to make that leg as long as possible. Is it as long as possible? Keep it going here. 4, 3, 2, hold. Here's the hard part. Lift it up, knee to knee here. Keep that bubble and pulse. 3, 2, and 1. Curl that knee in. Now you can kind of lose that bubble. You can bring both knees in. Rock from side to side. That feels good, doesn't it? All right, you guys, let's go ahead and come up. Let's roll over onto our side and just push yourself up. Come to a seated position. And again, if you want to grab a chair at the moment, sit however it's comfortable for you. You can extend one leg out. However you can sit and maintain a tall posture with activated muscles, that's how I want you to sit. If you're on the chair, still kind of want you to sit kind of in the middle of the chair, lifted out of the back of the chair, if that is a good seated position for you. Kind of pull the hips under a little bit just so you feel those muscles being engaged and those ribs closing. And I like to end with just my hands resting on my knees. We're just gonna kind of slow our breathing down, stretch our neck, and just take a little moment for ourselves to meditate. Just have some quiet space in our mind. Just being mindful. So just close your eyes and start letting the muscles in your face relax a little bit. Slowing that breath down, still noticing the height in your torso, the length in your spine, the strength in your core. Taking a deep inhale, and as we exhale, letting the head come down, feeling all of that weight that's in our neck come to the very tip of the nose. We're not pressing the chin into the neck here, we're just letting our head hang. Maintaining that height in the torso. And let's twist that neck over to the right, twisting as far as you comfortably can, keeping that left shoulder pressed back, and then let the chin hold the weight. And pivot your head, let your ear hang to the shoulder. Just letting it hang. Feeling the softness through your jawline. Let your cheeks become soft, like cotton balls, light and fluffy. Let your eyelids relax. And slowly find that tiny push from underneath, right by your temple. Feel that push, lifting your head to the top, placing it gently right on top, centering your head. Inhaling and exhaling, bringing that nose down again, feeling the weight in the tip of the nose, or maybe it's creeping up the bridge of the nose a little bit into the eyebrow line. Just letting all of that tension in your neck release and escape your body. Letting the muscles in your forehead relax, letting your eyelids soften. Keeping the height in your torso. Let's bring that nose over to the left shoulder, twisting as far as you comfortably can, and then letting your chin hold the weight. Feeling the softness in your jawline, up into the cheekbones. Pivot your head, let your ear hang. And slowly find that push from underneath and gently push your head to the top, placing your head as softly as possible right on top of the neck, letting it center itself. Let's bring our hands together. Let your thumbs rest against your chest and just let your fingers rest against each other. Noticing that strong heartbeat. slowing that breath down, and place your attention on your touch today. Let your touch soften. Let your touch be a loving touch today. Let your touch be encouraging. Let's raise that touch above your head as we inhale. Filling the breath with the lungs, let the breath climb up into the throat, and exhaling, letting that touch part from one another, floating the arms down softly and slowly to the side. Still noticing the touch that each hand has to offer. Put a smile on your face, a big smile. Open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. And of course, with your touch, be mindful if you are touching, let it be a sanitized, clean touch if you do have to come in contact with anybody. Be safe out there, stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you guys again real soon.